everyone. Today I am going to do another cast on method. So this is called the long tail cast on. If you looked at my other video of a different cast on method, it has this information, but let me just tell you a little bit about when you look for your yarn or your needles, what you want to look for. So here on your yarn that you find, you have a label, and on that label it'll tell you what size yarn it is. So this is a 4 and it's like medium, so it looks like this. And if you come over here to the knitting needles, it says that it needs size 8 US needles. So right here I have size 8 right there. And usually you want to try and keep the needles the size that it tells you on here, because if you want to make sure that the gauge is right for what you're knitting, you can knit a swatch and like right here it says 4 by 4 inches, so you would knit something that's 4 by 4 inches by casting on 17 stitches and doing 23 rows. So it tells you here how many stitches you would need to cast on to make 4 inches, and that's helpful if you want to make your own sweater and like just try and figure out the pattern for it. You could measure your torso and say, okay, my torso is like 16 inches across, so I'm gonna do 17 times 4 stitches casting on. So that's just a good thing to know when you're shopping for yarn, to make sure that you want to match up the yarn and the needles. But let's go ahead and get started. So for a long tail cast on, you want to leave yourself a long tail. So usually if I'm doing a long tail cast on, just to be safe, I'll do it about the size of my wingspan. But it depends on how many stitches you want to cast on. So if you have to cast on like 100 stitches, then you're going to have to estimate a lot more yarn for that. So this is about how much I have. I'm probably going to cast on, let's say I want to cast on 20 stitches. I think my wingspan would be a good measure for 20 stitches. So I'm going to start like I did the other way by doing a slip knot, and a slip knot is really helpful for knitting or for crocheting. It's kind of just a really good thing to know. So with the slip knot, I'm going to start by taking the end that is not attached to the ball and wrapping it across the end that is attached to the ball, so that's right here. So I'm looping it across so that there is like that. And then I'm going to take this that's not attached to the ball, the long tail part, and loop it underneath that circle that I just made so that it looks kind of like a pretzel. So this end should be crossing through the circle. It should be like a line through the circle. Then I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go over the part of the circle and under the part of the tail to pick it up, and then back over the other part of the circle. And so I'm just going to pick that up with my needle, and I'm going to pull these two down together so that they make a tighter knot. The point of a slip knot is to be able to slip it right out. So if you pull both sides, it should be able to come out automatically. So let's try it one more time. I'm going to wrap the tail end over the ball end, and then take the tail end, wrap it underneath the circle that I just made so that it looks a little bit like a pretzel. And then I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to go over that first piece of yarn underneath the second to pick that one up, and over the last one. So now you can see that I kind of have this hanging on my needle. I'm going to take both of these and pull them down. So when I pull them down, I've made the knot, and you can see it's kind of loose from my needle. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take both of these and pull them out so that they can tighten against the needle. And I don't want them to be too tight. I want to leave just a little bit of space because I don't want my cast on to be too tight. So when you are doing a long tail cast on, what you're going to start with is you're going to make like a rooster with your fingers. And you're going to take your pointer and your thumb that make the beak, and your yarn should just be hanging down like this, and you're going to go with your beak right in between the two needles. The two pieces of yarn. So you should have the piece of yarn that's attached to the ball, the piece of yarn that's just a tail. You're going to take your rooster and you're going to go in between those two. Now you'll open up the beak, and you see how this is kind of woven over my pointer finger and under these 3 fingers. So I'm going to take these 3 fingers and I'm going to grab both pieces of yarn with these 3 fingers. So I should have my pointer finger and my thumb should be inside of this, these 2 pieces of yarn, and then they should come down and be held by these 3 fingers. So now I kind of have like a finger gun going on here. And I'm going to take this finger gun and I'm going to pull my needle down like this, and I'm going to look at it this way. So now I have a slingshot. So I still got my finger gun here, but I just switched with my hands, pulled it out this way, and now I have a slingshot. Once I have the slingshot, I'm going to go underneath the one on the outside of my thumb with the needle, underneath from the outside in. Then I'm going to go and grab this one on the inside of my pointer finger, and I want to grab that from the outside in again. Now I'm going to take this piece that I just brought from the pointer finger, from the outside of the pointer finger, and bring it through or under this one where the thumb was, the outside of the thumb. Now I'm just going to release my hands from the yarn, and I'm going to pull it down, and usually I like to use my fingers like this and kind of pull it down like that so that I have my second stitch, my second stitch that I casted on. So I'm going to show you one more time. I'm going to do my rooster. I'm going to come in between the 2 pieces of yarn, so I'm going to take my rooster like this. Now I'm going to grab the yarn with these 3 fingers. So I did rooster, grab the yarn with these 3 fingers. I can open up my fingers now. I have the yarn grabbed in my 3 fingers. These 2 fingers are opened up, and I'm going to pull this down to make a slingshot. So now I'm facing my hand towards me. This is pulled down to make a slingshot. I'm going to take the outside thumb piece from the outside in, outside thumb piece, outside in, and then the inside pointer finger piece from the outside in again. I'm going to bring the pointer finger piece through the thumb piece. This is kind of the tough part, so I'm going to show you like this way. Through there. So through there. And I'll release my fingers from the yarn and pull these 2 down like this. So the other thing that I like, I mentioned this in the other video, when you're casting on, a lot of times you can kind of stay in the position that you're in order to start the next stitch. So you can see here I just finished this one and I was going like this to tighten that up. Now I still have these in my 3 fingers down here. I still have my 2 fingers like this, so I'm just going to start the next stitch. Grab this one, grab that one, and pull it through. Now I'm back here because I tightened it up. I'm going to just whoop, under, over, and grab that through, tighten it up again. Pick up this one, and tighten it. Pick up this one, and tighten it. So once you get the hang of it, you can go a little bit quicker. But if you are having trouble, I would say pause the video, especially at the part where you're going like taking this piece through here. That's the hardest part, I think. Right here when you release it, you just kind of want to pull this to tighten it. And that's pretty much it. I will do a crocheting video, a beginning crochet video soon, so please check that out. Thank you, bye!